Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Legacy Leaders. I'm Scott McMeans, and today I'm joined with Anthony Farrell from Complete Pest Solutions. He is the president of the organization, and a pretty cool story. Interesting business. I want him to introduce himself. So, without further ado, the camera and microphone are yours, Anthony. Introduce yourself. Tell us your story, what you do, how well you do it, and why is it that so many people do business with you? So, the camera and microphone are yours, my friend. Tell us all about yourself.
All right. Well, I've been in the pest control industry for over 20 years. I kind of started this as a high school summer job. Um, so I did inside sales for the company during the time when you couldn't drive a vehicle because you were too young. So I started with that company selling, calling their previous customers to get them to re-up their services, canceled customers to try to get them to re-sign with us and figure out what went wrong and try to build that trust back up. Then I moved into the outside sales end of it, door to door, business to business. So we don't do residential door to door with our company. It's business to business. So I think your local, mom and pop restaurants, your local franchising for like McDonald's, Burger King's,
Okay.
did those car dealerships, hospitals, local hospitals. So I kind of created the whole sales program for that company on the outside, going business to business. So did that. Then I was able to go ahead and drive a company vehicle because I was finally old enough for their insurance to cover me. Um, and then I was a technician. So I started off with the back in the day, we used to have to do restaurants that were 24 hours at 3 a.m. So that was my shift. So uh,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. So 20 years old, getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning to go to work. That was a good kick in the pants of here's the real world and this is how it works. Um, so I got to learn a lot about services, upselling customers that while you're at their house or at their restaurant, onto different services. So again, using that sales background to help
mhm.
create more customers for the company without additional marketing costs. And that became kind of my stick all the way through my career. You're always looking to upsell because when you're at a restaurant, they do have employees there that need pest control at home. So why not? You know.
Sure.
Um, so you know, I wasn't just what they call a quote unquote baseboard jockey come in and just spray. I would actually interact with the employees of the restaurant and then build their trust of how I did my service, and they would use us for their homes. If their mom had a problem, they would, hey, bug guy, come here real quick. My mom's got a problem. Here's her phone number. Let me get if you could.
You called yourself the bug guy. That's fantastic.
Yes, yes. Well, that was my nickname. Um,
Oh, I
so
love
did
it.
that. And then once I moved from the commercial route, I got more into the residential side and then the wildlife side. So I got into doing bat removal, raccoon removal, bird removal, squirrels, groundhog, skunks, all the wildlife fun stuff that people get in their homes. So that
Man,
was, yeah. So that was a fun one because now you're working off of big ladders, air lifts, boom lifts on roofs, all that fun stuff. So got to learn that side of the business. And then I worked my way into managing a company. So in my 4 years of managing that company, we went from 12 employees to 30, 30 technicians on the road. So built a pretty decent legacy there through again teaching them how to upsell to customers. Not
okay.
just going in, just do your service, make that customer a routine contractual customer because that's what builds the worth of a business. Um,
Absolutely.
and if you're there getting rid of bats in their attic, and then you're up there on the roof, in the eaves, in the soffits, and all of a sudden there's bees, it's an easy transition to saying, "Hey, I'm here for your bat work. You got bees all over the place. Let's get you on our quarterly program." They sign on the dotted line right then and there.
Yeah.
Because you're already building that trust with them by doing those services. So did that for a while. And then in 2008, I opened up Complete Pest Solutions. Um, the fun part of that was my daughter was a year old, so my wife had just left her job to
Oh,
be a stay-at-home mom, and I started a company all within a year. So that was a little on the the frightening.
Anthony, okay, there's a lot going on there.
Oh yeah,
Okay. I just want to before you go on, because there's two things that really struck, or actually three that really struck me, and I want to make sure that the audience gets a chance to understand it. You have made comment of the word trust no less
Mhm.
than 5 times since you started the
Correct.
conversation, and you have said service probably 6 or 7 times since you started. And I want to make sure that people understand a 2 a.m. job for a 19-year-old not only builds trust in the people you work with, but it's unbelievably character building. So I'm looking at you and I have three things written down: service, trust, character. I think that's something that would probably follow you around your entire career because that's how you're describing yourself, unbeknownst to you, right? I don't think you set out to say these are three things that describe me, Scott. But I'm listening to you talk about what you do, and it's those three things that have resonated multiple times. And it does, in fact, hit me as that's why he's successful because he is true to his word. He has the character and the wherewithal to do the job that's necessary. But you do it in such a way that people trust you because you're not selling them what they don't need. You're not upselling them because you want to make more money. You're doing it because you know exactly what you're doing and how well to do it. And you realize there's a need for somebody and you help them out. I think that is a really cool encapsulation of what you do. So I
That
appreciate you telling that, walking me
yes,
through this.
that is exactly what we do. We are a company that helps people. Um, all companies want to make a profit, but I don't I don't replace profit with making sure that our customers are taken care of. And
Yeah,
that's why they choose us because I'm not a profit driven guy. I know that my profits will be there if I do the right job. So I don't
yeah,
have to worry about that stuff. So yes, so I
I love it.
like I like our customers to trust us and enjoy our phone calls to schedule their services and be happy that we're coming. That is the quintessential um, legacy that Complete Pest Solutions has been trying to build since 2008. And most of our customers, when we call them, they are ecstatic that we're coming. They can't wait to see us. They like our employees. They like our girls on the phone. And I've been doing generational customers. I mean, you're over 20 years. So I do, I've done the parents' home and then I do their kids' home. So the kids that I seen in the home when I was doing their quarterlies or doing bat work for them, and I would interact with their children while I was there, I am now doing their homes. So
Yeah.
that is a really cool kind of connotation of of this industry. And I think that goes for a lot of service industries. If you do it right, um, and you do it for a long enough time, you eventually do get generational customers. So it's
Well,
it's kind
it's
of
a
cool.
testimony, right? It's a testimony to who you are, and how you do things. Like I opened it up by saying, "Tell me what you do, how well you do it, and why would people want to work with you?" You just laid it out. I mean, the testimony for what you guys are doing is, I take care of people, and I do it so well that they want their kids to be taken care of in the same fashion.
Mhm.
What better endorsement can you get?
That is correct.
So I put these things together, and now I start thinking, okay, how do you run your business though? How do you get the right people on your team to be that spirit, that motivated individual that will do what you want them to do and follow your vision and mission for the business? So, is there something in particular, Anthony, that you call on to say, these are the type of people we hire? This is how we train them. What's your secret when it comes to the people on your team? Because again, you made comment that the people are the reason why things work. So I'm curious how that works
Yep.
for getting the right people on a team.
So with our secretaries, I've always hired, um, I try to find people with a gentle spirit,
Mm,
and hire them because again, you are dealing with the public. If you have someone that, again, there's a place and a time for, that aggressive side of somebody,
yeah.
but in the everyday business, a gentle spirit that listens to customers' issues, what they're afraid of, and then provide that fix.
Mm.
Um, so I look for that in my secretaries. The gentleman that I hire. So I know it sounds funny, it sounds odd, but I always look for somebody when I'm interacting with them. Would I trust them in my home with my wife and my kids?
Mm.
Because 85 to 90% of the homes that we go into, the wife is home and the kids are home. So, so I use
Mhm.
that kind of as my guideline. And then as we work as a team, I make sure that, hey, would you trust this guy in your house with your wife and your kid at home if you were not home?
Yeah.
So we kind of do that trust round robin thing of, would you trust this one? Would you trust this one? Is there something off? So we kind of work as a team to build each other up and build that bond. So on the road, that's what I look for in our technicians. And then I also look for the employee that not only wants to come to work and do those things, but they also enjoy what they're doing. When they come here, do they have a smile on their face? Are they looking forward to the day? I always, at the end of the day, I always ask, how was your day today? And as long as they peek their head in my office and have a big smile on their face and they go, you know what, I had a pretty doggone good day today, then it's being done the right way.
Yeah.
I like it because we've been pushing reviews hardcore with our guys, and our customers will snap pictures of our guys and put them in the Google review. Um, and I told the one guy this morning, he got a bat out of this lady's bathroom. She was freaking out, got it out, and she snapped a picture of him. And I call him, I go, man, it looked like you opened your favorite Transformer as you were a kid at Christmas time because his smile was huge, because he did a nice job for this old lady that had a scary thing happen to her. And,
Wow.
and so those things, those are the kind of nuances that you look for. And it takes a while. We've gone through
Mhm.
many employees to find the staff that we have now. And I feel like the staff that we have now is phenomenal. We get phone calls all the time. And like I said, I mean, the best thing is a picture of your technician smiling like a fool while he got a bat out of the house,
Sure.
you know. And then, I try to open this thing up as this is not just a job, this is a career.
Yeah.
I've been in it for over 20 years and you can too. So we try to get our guys to go from a new technician, all this training, and then shift them into getting their own licensing, and carry that kind of ownership of, man, I'm a licensed technician in the state. I have responsibilities. I went and took card tests and I passed them, and that gives you a sense of confidence there. Um, so those are the things that I look for. And then the corporate, you can say the corporate environment is, as long as everyone is doing their jobs. We have lunches, we have birthdays, we
Yeah.
celebrate things, um, and we try to have a good time together. So those
Well,
those are the things that we try to do.
there's something to be said about appreciation, right?
Mhm.
You give people the chance to do the job they've been hired and trained to do. They'll do a great job if they get appreciated. And especially when you allow them the autonomy to do it as they see fit, within the guidelines, of course, right? But
Yes.
the authority to make decisions, you'll find that employees will drastically improve if they have a say in the way they get a chance to do their job. And it sounds like, you have a group of people that serve others as they like to be served themselves. And to me, that's a really good benchmark for how you do service oriented businesses. How do you make people feel when you leave? And again, you've got pictures of guys smiling like loons because they helped somebody out with a bat problem. But I'm assuming the person who snapped that picture had just as big a smile
Oh
and
yeah.
just as big of excitement because this is over with. I mean, you guys deal with bats all the time, but I don't think most people enjoy dealing with bats, right? So you're helping people out of a problem or a situation that they weren't expecting to have. Same thing with bees, all the other stuff, right? So sometimes you guys may even take it for granted that what you do is what you do, but when you really take a look at it, what you're doing is helping people in bad situations, get out of those bad situations. So I appreciate everything that you're doing.
Yep,
It's
correct.
kind of cool. So, okay, we're talking about all these different things. As you build this business, there are challenges, right? I mean, you didn't start day one and you were immediately a success. So, as you kind of chart out your career and building of this business, what are a challenge or two that you feel like would be worthwhile to talk about just so people understand, okay, this is what's going to happen to you, but this is how you can overcome it. So, is there something, Anthony, that resonates in your memory that's like, yeah, I remember going through that and it was a pain, but I got through it and here's what we did. Something you can talk about?
Yeah, so I think so again for the service business end, because this is what I know. Um, I think the hardest battles are definitely finding that proper employee, understanding that you're going to go through employees and they may not all like you because it is what it is, um, until you find the right fit. So I would say don't be discouraged because you may be hired for people that just were not in sync with you. I call employment like it's a resemblance of a marriage.
Yeah.
You know, I'm paying you to do a job, but then you also have to be excited to come do that job.
Yeah.
So it's not the boss telling the employee, well, you're like if the employee just decides they don't want to do the job, they're just going to call off. And there's, again, yes, there's ramifications for it, but there's this marriage between the employee and the employer where if you both are working at it together, it works,
Yeah.
you know, and not all employees kind of see the employment in that way. They just see it. This is a job. I'm going to go punch the clock, and that's it. And if that's not what you're looking for, you're going to go through some people, and that's okay.
Hmm.
So, is it discouraging? Yes. Is it discouraging to fire somebody? Yes. Those were um, my kind of things. I don't like to let people go. I don't like to fire them. I try to work and not have that as an issue. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. So that was some of the challenges early on is getting over that of man, I just can't find anybody good. This is crazy. But then you start really dialing in and getting better at interviewing. You get better at,
Yeah.
reading people, body language, all that stuff. And then it helps to kind of drum down those employees that aren't the fit that you're looking for. So
Yeah.
so I got better at that. So that's again, pick up a good book on human body language.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. And again, it might not all be true, but I would say if 70% of it's true, then great. You can learn something.
Yeah.
Um, pick up a book on good interview tactics of how to find out is this person the right fit so that way you're not having that issue of going through employees. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, as a business owner, we are going to go through people. It's just it's the baseline of employment. So and you're not the only one out there. So just remember that too. Like you're not alone. Um, as a business owner, sometimes it gets lonely, just
Yeah.
because you are focused on your business, and then you go home and you focus on your family, and then there's not really much time in your life for things outside of those two things. So it does kind of sometimes get lonely, but find some other business owners and just, hey, can you chat real quick? I got this thing. I need some advice. And trust me, we will pick up the phone for another business owner in a heartbeat because we know exactly what they're going through and we want to help be that sounding board. Um, so I found that to be good.
I
And then
love that piece of advice, honestly, because there's a study that says entrepreneur or business owner, small business owner, is the loneliest profession in the country,
mhm, it
right?
surely is.
So if you surround yourself with like-minded people in a similar situation, now you have a little cohort of whether you call them advisors or whatever, you have people that can share in your pain and your glories because they've been there and they've done that. And that's the whole purpose of this conversation in this series I do is I want people to realize you're not alone. There is
Mhm.
a tremendous network of people, whether they're colleagues and friends that you've found along the way, or Maybe it's a vendor that is really invested in making sure you do really well because they want you to keep buying their stuff, right? There's plenty of people that are going to help you.
Yep.
And what I find is you're not the only one out there. Great piece of advice. So I appreciate you saying that as well. That's
Yep.
good.
And the other thing I think is now the marketing stuff. When I first started, there was basically three ways to build a service business. You put a nice ad in the phone book. Uh-huh. Yep, yep, yep. Everybody got it. And then you went and you did your outside sales and then your referrals. Those were your three basic main ways to go into business and start it. And the thing that the thing that you as so going from that technology to now what we have now, it's there is a difference. When I had my full page ads, my phones rang in the season, it rang all day. Now all of a sudden you have Google ads, you have
Mhm.
LSA ads, you have Facebook ads, you have Yelp, you have Bing, you have Yahoo, you have all these platforms.
Yeah.
And it seems as though, like, yeah, you're probably not paying as much money, as you did for the phone book, but like today, as an example, I think my phone didn't ring very much today. And you're like, well, what the heck's going on? So you call your marketing company, like, hey, why is it that some days just the phone just doesn't ring at all? And they're like, well, you might have been outbidded that day. Well, what are you talking about? I'm in three tiny counties. I like, yes, I have competitors, but they're mostly old mom and pop competitors. They're not running
Yeah.
LSAs. They're not running Google ads. They've been here for 50 years. So they're just known. So how is it that someone's out? So you got all these nuances now, this new mark, and I'll be honest with you, I don't like it. It's not, it's
It's very
not,
different.
it's not very economical. Number one. Number two, it's hard to it's hard to open up a new business with just that kind of marketing because again, if you're new, you're not going to have $4,000 a week to put into Google
Yeah.
AdWords, and then you're just going to get stomped on. So learning that shift, I to be transparent, I still am working through that whole
Yeah.
thing.
Well,
Because
I'm going to make you feel better about yourself, right? 75 to 80% of all marketing efforts don't work. And the reason why they don't work is the message is wrong, the audience might be wrong, and what you're telling them is not hitting the mark. It's the hardest thing to do in every piece of business, right? When
okay,
you had your phone ad or your phone book ad, it was black and white. You got bugs, we got solutions, call us. Now you better find an SEO search engine optimization program that's going to allow your words to hit the web at the right at the right time, the right day when somebody's looking for that information. It's a lot more precise. Granted, you can cover a lot more ground, but it is a lot more effort to be unbelievably specific in what you do. It's
yep,
a different world, Anthony. And the fact that you recognize that, and I'm assuming because you are being successful, you're changing with the times, which is another lesson that people need to know, is if you're stuck in the mud, it's exactly where you're going to be tomorrow.
yeah, and we are changing with the times, but it's still you're still it's almost like an everyday. I would say I probably talk to my marketer twice a week now of like, okay, where are we at? What is our SEO words looking like? What keywords are you putting in this week? Here's what we should focus on, blah, blah, blah. So it's like not instead of just a one and done, you put a phone in you put an ad in the phone book, you go, and now I can go spend time B2B, getting
Right.
referrals, networking. Like that was a simpler life, but this is more complicated. Yes, you can reach a lot more. Yes. So it's still working through that and still learning. And now you dog pile on top of that now all this new AI stuff, and you're like, holy cow.
Yeah, that's a whole different beast.
Now you just transition from okay, we're doing this, and now all of a sudden, oh no, not now we can do some AI advertising, and you're like, all right, so what does that look like? Like so it's funny. I always tell my kids like I'm an 80s kid, so growing up, we've gone through so many transitions of technology, and now we're getting called, on top of that, we're getting the AI now. So it's like, we just kind of started learning this other marketing scheme, and
We got to change up again.
now it's like, holy cow, like, come on. So
I just
so
started figuring this out, and I got to
yeah,
do it all over again.
yeah. So again, just I think that is the one piece that I feel I feel like a baby in. Like I just,
Yeah,
I'm reaching up for mom and dad and looking for answers. And I just don't know if, you talk to this person and they're doing this and it's working. And you talk to this person, they can't do that because it doesn't work in that. So it's almost like you're reaching for air as a little kid. You just don't know which way to go yet.
yeah, yeah.
So
I think one of the ways it makes sense for you is that you're willing to try it because you know it's worth the outcome. You just don't know what direction to go just yet. And that's fine. You just have to spend a lot of time, a little bit of effort and money to figure out what direction you go. Once you have it figured out, it works exceptionally well. It's just hard. Marketing is hard. There's no other way around it. Marketing is
yep.
hard. You're gonna,
So
you're
so
gonna,
yeah,
we've been talking for over 30 minutes now, and we're about to close out. So I want to ask you one more question before you go, if that's okay with you.
yep, yep. That's
If
fine.
I were to put you into a time machine and send you back and you get a chance to meet 18-year-old Anthony,
Hmm.
and probably not going to be at 2 o'clock in the morning. You're going to meet at a park bench. You guys sit down. What's that conversation like?
No, I think I would tell him. Well, I don't know because I got married at 20, so I was pretty happy with that. So I would tell him, man, can we go back like 2 more years and sit down with a
Sure.
16, Anthony?
16-year-old
Um,
Anthony, what are you saying?
Apply yourself more in school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was the um typical kind of football player. I did okay, but
Yeah.
I didn't really um apply myself the way I should have. Um, I got decent grades, but I could have had really good grades if I just tried a little bit harder. So I would tell 16-year-old Anthony, do better in school, focus a little bit more.
Okay.
Um, there's something to be said about knowing how to learn something and knowing how to learn it quickly and efficiently. And sometimes I think if you rush through high school and you don't really apply yourself, you do miss that aspect of learning, knowing how to learn something. Um,
I like that. I've never heard it placed like that, but I like the idea of knowing how to learn. In other words, become a critical thinker. Allow
yeah.
yourself to be open to ideas that are different than what you've been told, not because they're wrong, not because they're right, but because you are one that's going to get a chance to decide, is this something that makes sense to me? That's critical thinking.
Mhm.
Good stuff. I want to thank you for being on the program, Anthony. I know it's a lot of great insight and really good information. The audience is going to love it. I will have all this information available in the description down below. Get in touch with Anthony. And any other questions or final thoughts?
Well, on the topic of learning how to learn, in 2020 during COVID, we franchised our business. So we do have 13 franchises out there right now. So
Fantastic.
that is a new learning how to learn.
I love it. I love it. Well, I want to thank you for being on the program, and we'll see everybody on the next
Okay.
episode.
All
Thanks.
right. Thanks, Scott.